Hi, lovelies, welcome back. This week I want to talk a bit about faith, and not in a religious sense, obviously, but just in the sense of how do we kind of develop and cultivate faith in what we always have going for us. And this came about because of a client call that I had yesterday. And that's basically what we talked about. What I was asked is, well, how do I have faith that I will self-correct? Or how do I have faith that answers will come to me if I'm stuck on something? And I really had to reflect on well, what does give us faith that we are self-correcting? And what does give us faith that answers will come and that, we have the resilience that we need when we need it and we have creativity when we need it? What gives us faith that these things are going to show up for us? And to me, it really looked like, well, because I tested it and seen the evidence. And now one of the things that I never, ever did when I was anxious for, chronically anxious for about a decade. And one of the things that I never did was leave my mind and my experience alone enough to self-correct. I never did that. And the reason I never did that is I didn't know I was self-correcting. I didn't think that if I took my hands off my experience, I would come back into balance. I kind of saw that physically it works like that. I know that if I were to cut myself or, get a burn, get a cut, any type of kind of physical altercation, that I would come back into balance. I knew that. I knew that my migraines would eventually go away, even if it completely sucked while I was in it, that I wouldn't actually be in a migraine forever. At some point, I would come back to health. I knew that if I had a cold, at some point, I would come back to health. I knew that any cuts, burns, bruises, they would eventually disappear and I'd be returned to health. But I didn't know that that was working for me psychologically. And if we don't know that something is on our side, if we don't know that we can rely and trust something, then we tend not to ever look for evidence of it. And so the entire time that I was really struggling with anxiety, I didn't know that I was self-correcting. In fact, I thought that I wasn't, because I was told, as I'm sure all of you were told, that our minds are something we need to control. And we need to be responsible for regulating it, and we need to be responsible for correcting it and getting to a better state of mind and making ourselves think positive and cultivating a different perspective and all of these intentional things that are put on our shoulders for us to do. And when I was pointed, fortunately, in the direction by the lovely Dr. Amy Johnson, who was like, hey, the mind is self-correcting. If you don't do anything, you'll feel better. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that, because my therapist definitely didn't tell me that, and doctors didn't tell me that, and nobody who, self-help authors definitely weren't telling me that. So I didn't know, and I didn't look for it because I didn't know. And when I started to actually consider, what if that's true? What if I'm way more self-correcting than I realize, and I'm way more healthy than I realize, and I'm way more resilient than I realize, and that if I actually take my hands off my experience, stop trying to fix it, stop trying to control it, stop trying to do anything with it, stop trying to change it or make it be something other than what it is, if I just step back, the system will take care of it for me, the same way that it's taking care of everything physically. I'm not responsible for healing my cuts or digesting my food or getting rid of my headaches. That's all taken care of. And lo and behold, because I tested it, because I looked for evidence of it, I saw it. I saw it everywhere. I saw it in me. I saw it in my friends. I saw it in the kids I was nannying at the time. I saw it in, the world at large. I saw it in media. I saw it, I just really was like, oh my God, it's there now that I know what to look for and where to look for it. It's there. It's always been there. It's always been there in me. I could retroactively look back and say, yeah, that actually has been working for me my entire life, but I dismissed it, or I explained it away, or I, chalked it up to my achievements, like, oh, I white-knuckled myself out of feeling anxious, and that's why I got a day of relative calm. And the biggest thing that I see with people is that they either don't know it's there, which, if you, like I said, if you don't know it's there, then you're not going to look for it, or they kind of hear it as kind of a good idea, like, oh, it'd be so nice if we were self-correcting, or so nice if I could just let myself settle and eventually solutions and ideas and answers will come to me. But they don't actually look for themselves. They're not actually willing to test it. They're not actually willing to see the evidence of it in their own lives. And because of that, they tend not to see it. And it's so kind of clear to me now that if we want to see whether something is actually true, and not true because I said it, not true because another teacher said it, not true because it sounds like a nice, lovely idea, but if we actually want to see what's true about anything, but specifically about how we self-correct, how little there is for us to do, how much the intelligence of the system is working on our behalf, and how easy and simple it is to get new ideas, new experience, creativity, answers, solutions, we have to kind of test it out and really see, okay, if I actually stop trying to fix my experience, trying to do something with it, trying to have control, trying to make myself be where I think I should be by then, whether it's I should know the answer by then, or I should be feeling better by then. If we kind of take ourselves out of it and just let the system work as it's designed to do, we will see evidence for how it works. And everybody I know who's actually stepped back and taken an honest to goodness look at it has seen it. And I just see over and over people's either reluctance to do it because they're pretty sure that they believe that they know how the system works, that they're not willing to actually show up with fresh eyes and see what they see. Or it's just they simply don't think to look there. Like they're never told that they're self-correcting, and they're never told that ideas kind of come out of the blue when we're kind of relaxed and open about it. So they'll just think and think and think and think and think, not see that they're not getting anywhere, not realize that they're just getting in the way of a new fresh idea happening because they're bogging their mind down with the same old, stale thinking that's gotten them nowhere. And then they say, well, I never get answers, or I don't self-correct like the rest of people, or it's different for me because I have a disorder, it's different for me because I have my past history such and such as it is, or it's different for me because I, have this thing about my past, or this thing about my personality, and all of that's made up. All of it, frankly, is bullshit. But they innocently use those things as excuses not to look. And so they say, well, I've never seen evidence that I'm self-correcting. And when I really ask them, well, have you taken your hands off the wheel long enough to let yourself self-correct? Or if you've been up against a problem, have you given yourself a break from thinking about it, such that because you're actually not thinking about it, you give your mind a chance to give you something new? And they'll say, well, no. I ask if they've ever tested it. They say, well, no. I ask if they've ever looked for evidence of it, and they say no. And it's so innocent, but really the biggest thing that I'm seeing lately is we do have to kind of look in the direction of what we want to see more of. Because if we don't, we're not going to see more of it. It's not that whole time that I was anxious, that I wasn't self-correcting, and that I didn't have moments of peace, and that I didn't have innate health. I had all of that, but I genuinely didn't look because I didn't think there was anything there to see. And so whether you're feeling stuck in something, whether you're feeling stuck in an experience or a habit of thought, whether you're feeling like you are just replaying the same old thoughts and there's nothing new and fresh in your life, or whether you're stuck on a big problem and you don't have an answer to it, you don't kind of know how you're going to get to a solution, it's all okay. It's all perfectly fine. But I would encourage you to really look and see, wow, if it's true that ideas come to me out of the blue, that I'm made of creativity and resilience, that I have way more health going for me than I give myself credit, that I have a self-correcting system, that I don't have to get in and try to fix things or change things, well, then we'll really start to see, oh, it turns out I do self-correct. It turns out I do get ideas when I stop thinking about it. It turns out that I am resilient. It turns out that I have way more creativity than I give myself credit for. And all it takes is looking. Not looking through the filter of our own past ideas, not looking through the filter of, well, given I have this disorder, what's available to me given my limitations, but really stepping back in the natural limitless that we are, the natural space of just health and resilience and creativity and calm and love and peace, and really just seeing with fresh eyes what has always given me answers, where have solutions really come from, where have, when I'm eventually feeling better, what accounts for that? And you'll start to see it's because you're self-correcting, because you're creative, because you're resilient, and because you have the capacity, the unlimited capacity for fresh thought, is how your experience of life is always changing and getting refreshed. So I really hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I love getting your questions and comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos every Friday, and I'll be back with you next week. Have a lovely weekend. Take care. Speak soon.